Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel once again. So in today's video I'm going to show you how we can draw, how we can compose and how we can do watercoloring using line and wash technique for gladiolus flower, also known as August birth month flower. And I'm using this drawing sheet, but you can use watercolor sheet because in the end we are going to paint it using watercolor. So let's start with today's video. So first you need to think about how you like to compose the overall flower. So you can keep it straight, you can keep it little bit tilted towards left and right. So I am doing little bit tilted one. So it is totally depend on you what kind of composition you need. So I'm creating something like this, more tilted towards right side, and then you can create a big thick stem like this. So I'm keeping the thicker side at the bottom, and as I'm moving towards upward direction I'm narrowing the width. So something like this you can create. I hope the pencil mark is visible, although we are going to do everything with the help of pen. Now decide in which area you want to create your main flowers. So for me the main flowers are in these two, wherein I have created circles. And then you can think about in which place you want to keep your flower, bird or half open flower, or maybe different perspective of flower. So I'm keeping these two area for flower birds. Maybe we can create one more here and a couple of more flower bird around the tip of this particular composition. So this is the basic structure, and then you can rub the in-between mark in the circle and we can start creating flower. So decide the center part of the flower. So I'm keeping the center part of the flower a little bit towards downward direction, not in the center. And then you can create 3 petals first. These are the front petal. To start with, you can create these petals smooth and pointed and something like this. All the 3 petals creating a triangle kind of shape and separated from each other. So these are not overlapped. And then you can create 3 more in between. So something like this you will get at the end 6 petals, 3 front and 3 behind. And then you can create little wavy pattern around the edges for the petals. So these things you can do directly with the help of pen, but if you're not comfortable doing it, do it with the help of pencil first and then trace everything with the help of pen. So we have 6 petals, 3 front, 3 back, and then you can think about creating folded pattern into the petal area. This is not important, but if you can add, I think it is nicer to have. So I'm adding little bit of folded pattern around petal area. And this flower is pretty much done. We can trace everything quickly with the help of pen. I'm using size 08 needle pen. You can use normal ball pen also. It's totally fine to use normal ball pen to start with. And then you can trace everything slowly, gradually. I'm showing these things in a speed way, so do not hurry and take all your time to do the tracing part, because this is the final tracing that we are doing. So you can do a little bit of changes if needed in the shape and size, and then one line around every petal. So we are done with this particular flower. Now let's do the another one. So again I'm repeating the similar stuff, creating the center part little bit towards downward direction. This time I'm keeping the 2 petals little smaller, and it does not have pointed end because these are tilted, maybe towards back side or maybe towards front, depend on the folded pattern that you are creating. So 1 big petal, 2 smaller non-pointed petals, then 3 petals in between. So lower petals are smaller in size and having folded pattern into it, and because of the smaller and bigger petals you will get different perspective of flower. So this one is little different, more towards downward direction. And then trace things for flower birds or side perspective of flowers or half bloomed flower, whatever you want to call it, you can call it. So because of side perspective, you also need to create the base of the flower, which is in green color. So I'm creating this Y kind of leaf, and wherever you want to create flower bud, create this kind of structure, and then you can decide 3 to 4 petals which is in the side perspective. So these are half bloomed flower, you can say, or you can say these are side perspective, and you can keep it a little bit tilted towards downward, pointed, something like this, like I have created. So I am doing nothing, just repeating the similar stuff, creating at least 3 petals in downward direction and 2 towards upward direction. And I think I'm happy with the bird structure. Now you can trace everything quickly with the help of pen. We are done with the flowers. We are done with the side perspective of flowers as well. Now create the middle stem, and you can also create the upward portion of the flower. So this is more like a longer spike kind of structure, and then you can create more flowers around the tip of this particular structure. As you are moving towards upward direction, you can keep the flower bud closer and closer and smaller in size. So a couple of them are a little bit open and most of them are closed and smaller. So this much structure is enough, I guess, and I'm done with my composition. This is the basic composition you need. Rub all the unwanted pencil mark, and then you can create stem in. So I'm creating this fine stem in the middle, and I'm using size 02 needle pen for this particular structure. So repeating the same thing for the second flower as well. So little bit oval kind of shape at the tip and multiple string from the center, and something like this you can create. Now I'm going to do some extra shading and detailing in the first flower, and you need to repeat the same thing for the second flower. Now it's time to do a little bit of extra shading and detailing, so let's do it. So with the help of very soft hand, you can create a little bit of lines and pattern in the inner corner of behind petal. So I'm going from inside to outside for the behind petal. So I'm basically giving the darker shade at the corner of behind petal and darker shade at the tip of front petal. So something like this you can do alternate, behind front, something like that, and you need to do it with the help of very soft hand as we are using pen. Now you can repeat the same thing for the second one as well, which I'm not going to show you, so you need to take all your time to do these things. And for the folded pattern, I'm doing some cross hatching. So cross hatching means creating cross lines. So basically you need to create parallel lines and then cross line to get little darker shade. Now for the other petals that we can see in the flower bud and side perspective flower, I want to keep it a little lighter. So I'm just creating couple of lines here and there in all the petals that we have. Nothing much, just a little bit of line. If you want, you can skip this part completely. And then all the green part which we can assume or which we can see, I want to keep it little darker. So I'm doing little bit of cross hatching and cross contouring around that area to make that area a little darker. So all the green element like base of the flowers, stems, flower, bud which are closed at the tip, these things should be in the darker shade. And you can do the opposite of what I am doing, keeping the petal area darker and rest other area a little lighter. So choice is yours, but I am keeping the green part more darker and the petal area a little lighter. So basically I'm repeating the same thing throughout. So more hatching you will do, the greater shade you will get. So make sure you are doing it in a right way. Now we are done with the flowers, flower buds, everything. Now let's create leaf. For this particular flower, leaves are quite simple, longer, pointed. You can do some overlapping between the flower as well. So try to make different perspective of leaf as well, if you can like little bit tilted towards downward direction, and something like this you can do around the base of this particular structure. Now I am done with the leaves as well. You can do little modification in the perspective of these leaves, so take all your time to do these things. Composition is totally up to you, what kind of composition you need. And then trace leaves also. You can do a little bit of shading and detailing around the leaves as well, but I am not doing much, just creating lines at one side of the leaf. So I want to keep it a little lighter. So repeat the same thing for all the leaves that you have. I have created many flowers with this particular technique, so you can refer to those video. I can give you a link into my description section. And I have also explained everything in detail about sketching process, like contouring, hatching, cross hatching. So for those as well, you can get a link into my description section. So if you're only interested in drawing, I think sketching technique is something you should understand. Now we're done with the drawing part, so I wanted to paint it using line and wash technique. So everything is done with the help of pen. Now I can put some color. So I'm using pink and purple color, and this technique is very simple. Even if you're going outside the structure, it's totally fine. Even you can put some color randomly, that is also fine, because you can see flowers clearly, you can see leaves clearly. I love this particular technique because I like to draw, and that is why I draw everything very precisely, and then I put a little bit of color around it. And this technique is called line and wash, wherein you line everything and then you wash it with the help of watercolor. So take your time to paint everything whatever you need. So for this particular video, I'm going to paint only one flower, couple of leaves, and little bit of background. So I'm done with the flower painting. You can repeat the same thing for the flower bird as well. Now I'm doing little bit of background with the help of very light shade of pink color. So you can go around the flower area. This is optional. If you don't want, you can skip this particular part. And if you are interested painting it, try to use watercolor sheet. I'm not using it because I'm just demoing what we can do. But if you are interested in watercoloring, try to use watercolor sheet. And then I'm putting a little bit of clean water around the edges to get rid of any hard edge. And then I'm using green color for the leaves and stems, basically all the green part. My sheet is too wet, that is why it is spreading a little bit. But as I said, everything is defined already with the help of pen, so you don't have to panic about these things. And you can do a little bit of background effect with the help of green color as well if you want to. And last thing what you can do is adding little bit of yellow color around the stamen area, and you can sprinkle yellow color as well a little bit, which is totally optional. So we are done with today's video. Hope this video is helpful for you guys, and thank you so much for watching my videos. See you guys in the next video.